down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Brezzy.
and today we're happy. We're excited because we have another interview. We're interviewing Wesley Johnson, an independent filmmaker. How are you today, Wesley?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm
Love it.
Peachy.
She's
All
feeling
right.
Breezy's
Yes.
peachy.
Love it. Is there any other way to be? No.
So we were able to watch a couple of your projects. The first was called Dead End, I
Yep.
believe, and that was
Yep.
that won something at Crypticon, correct?
It did. Yeah, I have I think it's up there. I tried to showcase a little bit, but yeah, we won most shocking horror short at Crypticon. So that was
Oh,
it was a
awesome.
very very exciting win, exciting time for us. So,
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
we
when
also,
I
oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
when I watched that, one, I like the clowns.
yep.
I
Yep.
like that. And two, I just really like it. I can see why Crypticon made you the winner because it's a fabulous short film.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy you liked it. I'm glad you watched it. And I know we've bumped into each other a lot at
Mhm.
at Crypticon and stuff. So there's always so much going on there that it's trying to usher everybody into a film fest is a little tricky, but
Yeah.
it's hard to go wrong with clowns, you know. I mean,
Right.
look at the Terrifier franchise. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love that. Yeah, this was a fantastic movie. Ben was part of the film too, and he's actually
Yep.
the FX makeup. He's a fabulous person.
Wonderful.
Oh,
What a great friend of mine.
yeah. How long did you made this film?
So that film originally. So it's kind of a big long sort of thing, but so the characters and kind of the whole world of the Dead End film is sort of a property that my team and I have we've kind of been working at that for years. So there's a couple other sort of weird offshoot films that we had done kind of in the same world like a few years prior, and that was it was while we were still trying to figure it out. You know, we didn't know exactly what we were doing yet. So it's been kind of like fine-tuned.
Hmm.
And I believe we made that there was a specific like film competition. I think it was the 50/50 Hallows Eve is a pretty common like Halloween focused Minnesota film festival, and we made it for that. And it was kind of nice because a lot of the people that are a part of that had seen the previous, you know, attempts that we had made. And then
Hmm.
this one, we put a lot of focus into it, and a lot of it was there for us. So we did it at the Dead End Hayride.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
saw that in the credits.
Yep, yep. So we lucked out. We lucked out with that because
Mm.
my friend Alex Ventacinque. So Breezy, I think you've probably run in or met her before, maybe. She,
Who?
she her name is Alex Ventacinque. She does a lot of like effects, makeup and stuff.
I think so. I gotta see a photo. I see
Right. Yeah. So if
everything.
you saw her, you'd probably pick her
Okay.
out. But she's worked on a lot of these films too, and she worked at the Dead End Hayride. So it's very lucky for us to be able to get in there, and we'd actually seen that place before the idea for the film came up. So we kind of saw the place and thought, yeah, we got to bring these clowns back. We gotta
Yeah.
clown around and do some gory stuff. So all in all, I mean, I think I want to say that we only like production was like 2 days.
Oh, nice.
So not a lot of time, not a lot of time, but it was we went in focused and we kind of knew what we wanted to do. So it, you know, when you have it all pre-planned well and you have a good team like I did, you can
Mhm.
pull it off.
So was it mostly like friends of yours, or how did you go about casting and recruiting people for the project?
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun because I would say it was kind of a mix. It was sort of a mixed
Mm.
bag because there were a couple people who were already sort of a part of the process, some you know homies who are already kind of a part of the team,
Right.
and then I always like to mix in some new people. You know, I think it gets a little old when you're doing the same thing with the same people all the time. So we
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
to open our doors to some new talent and new people. So it was a good mix
Hmm.
and especially cast wise. So if
Yeah.
you, I don't know if you recognize, not a lot of people can pull it out. But Alex and I are actually we're the mimes. We're the clowns in
Oh,
there.
nice.
Yeah, so I'm
I
the
didn't
I
recognize.
kind of figure something was up. I'm like, is
yeah,
that Wesley?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Which adds a whole other element because acting in anything that you're also trying to direct and do the other, it's a lot. It definitely
Mhm.
makes for some long days. But yeah, Alex and I are the clowns, so obviously those characters are very close to our hearts. So we went in sharp. We knew what we wanted to do, and then obviously having Ben to help make it bloody and disgusting,
Yep.
you know. So good
Yeah,
times.
it's definitely a really good one.
hmm Yeah, and
Awesome.
what a find on the location. Then they're going across the walkway with that thing, the whole room spinning.
Yes.
I was like, I remember that. I've seen that before.
Yep. Yep. We
Yeah,
we had to move through that pretty quick because I'll be honest, I couldn't I get
yeah,
vertigo pretty
right.
easily. So I was standing on the outside of that room. I couldn't be
Yeah,
in there while we were doing. I'm trying to look at the monitor but not really look at the monitor,
yeah,
But that was fun. That made for some good film.
yeah. Um, and then we also saw a kind of a sneak peek of a project you're working on called Night Shift.
Yes.
And I really like that. So what is it? So what you have so far, it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's got I got a little ways to go. Got a little ways to go. So that was kind of a fun experiment. That Breeze, you pulled it out right away. Ben is do you ever think that you'd see Ben Gersh, Dr. Gore,
Yeah,
the actor?
this what I knew he was going to be an actor in this one. I did not do any like creepy sounds. I just watched it
Just
as
watch it
is.
straight. Yep.
I just watched it straight. And I'm like, I was laughing so
Yep.
bad because I'm so used to seeing Ben on the other side doing
Hmm.
FX makeup, and now he's
Yep.
doing on the actor's side. I'm like,
Yep.
oh my gosh. And the mannequin, he's so scared of the mannequin in the bathroom. Spoiler
Yep.
alert, but
Yep. That's okay. No, it was, I mean, and that was kind of the nature of that whole thing. It
Mhm.
was so it's a little different from like Dead End, right? Because Dead End, we kind of had a whole team, we had different departments. I don't want to say it was a big production, but it was a
Mhm.
bigger production. We had a
Mhm.
pretty sizable team for that. Whereas this one is kind of just us. I mean, I didn't really bring in anybody else to work on that. That was like I shot it and colored it and I kind of did all the stuff, and it was really just Ben and Amber and I. And the story's kind of funny because there was really not a lot of planning or thought into it. All three of us on our spare time, we all worked at Spirit Halloween this year.
Oh, cool.
So obviously Halloween is where it's at. So
Right.
I've been an assistant manager at Spirit Halloween for the last few years. And this year Ben was just, he had some available time. He jumped on the team. And then
Mhm.
our friend Amber is another manager there. And I just knew that I wanted to do something
Mhm.
mainly for the building. So
Yeah,
it's
right, exactly.
down here in Mankato. So Spirit Halloween is in an old Herberger's. If you guys
Oh,
remember
yeah.
Herberger's,
We got one of
yeah.
those here in an old Herberger's here in St. Cloud too.
Yep, it's like one of those old department stores.
Hmm
And this one had been empty for years and years before Spirit came in. It sat empty. And I had heard before this last year, I heard that they were going to tear it all down because
hmm
it's had some issues.
Right.
Sounds like they're not tearing it down. They're selling it off to a different company. But if you go up you go up the stairs, right? Because there's the whole mall. And Spirit, if you've been to a Spirit Halloween, they build fake walls to make it a little smaller usually than the
Yeah.
place that it's in. So this is like the whole mall, and you go up the stairs, and everything is like stuck in the 90s. And I'm
Yeah.
talking like tile flooring, the phone on the wall. It's like an old.
hmm
It's all just like a time capsule.
hmm
And we snuck our way up there and looked around, and I was just like, Ben, like we gotta film something in here.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we just have to. And if we had all the time in the world, we would probably do something nice and big in there, like a bigger production thing. But we just didn't. We didn't have the time. I got the boss and the owner of the building were like, as long as we don't see it, you film it after hours, and you have until Halloween, because after that, then everybody's packing up and moving out. So it's like we had a few evenings when we were done working to just do it. And I was like, Ben, the only way we can do this is you got to be the guy. Like you got to be the actor. I had the mannequin already, so I was
Yeah.
like, that's I can work that in. And I'm like, Ben, you gotta be the actor. And Ben's kind of a goofy guy, so he's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I'm not a good actor, but I don't want you to be.
Right.
I want you. I mean, you could kind of tell too. He's kind of cheesy and a little over the top, and that's
Yep.
what we were going for.
And
And
that's how Ben is there,
that's
Matt.
and
Yeah.
we're no strangers to like guerrilla filmmaking.
Right.
We've had plenty of those times where we're somewhere and we just think we gotta film something.
Yeah.
I think that's the spirit of any like independent filmmaker. It's like you're always filming something.
Yep.
But I had to find a creative way. But people probably watching this before the movie comes out are like, what are these guys talking about? So again, I did it all by myself.
Mhm.
So I didn't have, I could have put a little microphone on top of my camera, but it's like that's gonna sound like garbage.
Yep.
So I just figured, I'm just gonna shoot it, and I'll figure out what to do with that later. And then the idea kind of came of what if we kind of do make it sort of a silent film.
Yep.
And that's why there's no. I try. It's really hard to like explain that over text. I'm telling you guys. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
watch it, but like put something on because otherwise you're gonna be like, I don't hear it. There's no sound.
Right.
So I still have to figure that part out.
I actually, when I was trying to find some sort of like creepy ambient music,
Yep.
and I thought I found one, but it was actually like more like space, like woo, woo, but it still kind of worked. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
this is kind of working for me
Yeah.
actually. But
That could be the joke. You just pop whatever you want back there, and it just changes the whole vibe of the film.
right,
'Cause
exactly.
Ben with his like super dramatic facial expressions,
Yeah,
and
and you got
Like
this.
in the bathroom scene.
that's the bad. That was my he. That was the only thing, and this would surprise you because it's Ben, right? That was the only part where he's like, I don't know if we do, and I'm like, you're Ben. Like, if you're an actor in a movie, obviously we're gonna have a scene where you're in the bathroom stall,
Right.
like, and then he nailed it, and then he nailed like
Exactly.
everything he did. I'm like, this is perfect. This is hilarious,
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like how clowns, some people have that sort of just like phobia or whatever of clowns. And to me, I'm like clowns, whatever. But for me, mannequins, I almost have like I'm more freaked out by mannequins than by
Yeah.
clowns. Something
Yep.
about them, especially those ones like you have, like the kind of Slender Man looking
Yep.
all white one. It's like,
Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I had a friend who was working at a place who just was getting rid of them. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember that was years ago. She put up a Facebook post like, I have like 50 mannequins. I need them gone. And she cleared those out like by the end of the day. And
Yeah.
I remember it was Alex or one of my friends because I'm down in Mankato and this was in the cities. And I was like, you got to get me a mannequin. I
Yeah.
need one because I have all these Halloween costumes, all these things. I always have something on display, right? It's
Yeah.
in my house, it's Halloween 24/7. So I
Yeah.
got
Same
it, and
here.
it sat around, and I'm like, I got to do something with the mannequin, and it's built in such a way that it's really easy to move around by the legs.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty solid, so I can grab her by the legs and move, and the whole body, it's like light enough. So I kind of already had the gimmicks in mind for how we can incorporate that into a little film, and
Nice.
it was fun.
Yeah, that was such a fun movie, especially with Ben. Oh, I can't wait until I talk to Ben. And like, you do such a good job of being an actor.
He's surprisingly really good at it. And I know it's not his first time. He did when he did Bone Jangles, which is kind of a super like, low budget feature that he did way back. He did all the effects for it, but he also acted in that too. And he's had little cameos and stuff, so like he's got some skills. I think he needs to like spread his wings and really dive into it, but
Mhm.
he definitely prefers being on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
so-
I have a question. I was doing a little dig around and I seen that you did like seekers.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more
Yeah, yeah.
about that one?
So on the laundry list of hobbies, one of my hobbies is paranormal investigating. So I've been a paranormal investigator for like probably 20 years.
oh, nice.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I've always sort of had a passion for it, and Grave Seekers is sort of that's kind of my YouTube channel sort of focus on on that. So it's a focus on paranormal activity, but still I can use all my production and
Right.
cameras and all my little gadgets, and we have a great time. We don't get
Yeah.
to do that as often as I'd like because I feel like
Mhm.
we have a pretty good engagement on our YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And it's like I think I average of like I have been averaging like a video probably every 6 months to a year or something. And like people are like in the comments, give us some more. We want to, and I'm
Yeah.
it's just it's a hobby. It's kind of a side gig, and film
Right.
has always been number one. But I'm actually gearing up. I got a whole bunch of stuff I'm about to release on that. So if
Ooh.
you're into ghost hunting, yeah, Grave
Definitely.
Seekers on YouTube.
Have you
What's
ever
your
had anything that really kind of made your hair stand on end? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I've had a lot of over the years. I've had a lot of
yeah.
things that are hard to explain. I try to come at it as more of a skeptic.
Hmm.
Because I think that's just good investigating.
Hmm.
But I've had a few. I've had a few situations where I'm like, that's I can't figure that out
Right.
rationally, you know?
Yeah. I know
what
what you
is the
mean.
most creepiest haunted place you've been to?
Oh, that is a good one. I would have to say, because I've been to a lot. That's a long list. I would say probably one of the most intimidating and most active would be Nope Ebbing Sanatorium in Duluth.
Uh-huh.
So it's a big place. Not a lot of people, surprisingly, not a lot of people know about it. It's more popular in the paranormal world. A lot of people are really trying to get in there. And I don't even think they let people in anymore because it's just so decrepit. Like it's an old tuberculosis like asylum that's been weathered for years.
Hmm.
And even when we were there, it was like it's pretty dangerous. The floors get slick and frozen, and there's
Ooh.
glass and
Hmm.
but my friend Brent Duncan, who's also a really good local filmmaker, had an idea for a film, and he was able to get in there, and we shot a movie. And this is like no joke. I have to say this is like probably 5 or 6 years ago now.
Hmm.
We shot a movie there on location, and it was done in the perfect like Ghost Adventures kind of way, right? So if you're
Hmm.
familiar with that, it's like I kind of did my best Zach Baggins.
Right.
I'm kind of playing myself, but I'm kind of like I'm a little more douchey. People
Yeah.
aren't really supposed to like me. And we
Yeah.
filmed a whole paranormal movie at this place, and it was so fun. And all the stuff we have is so good. But the problem is, it's always audio. It's always got to be audio. So we
Right.
all had these little kind of flimsy microphones on the camera. And anytime you're running or moving, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just making noise. It's just making noise. So that movie hasn't come out yet because there's just so much like audio work to be done.
Yeah.
Mm.
But even when we're filming that movie, like there were so many things happening that were
Yeah.
like not a part of the movie.
Right.
It was real stuff. And I'm like super fortunate for that because of that. There's a show Destination Fear, if you're familiar with
Okay.
that.
Yep.
It's Project Fear now. They're on YouTube as well. But when they had their Destination Fear on Discovery, season 2, episode 1 is all about Nope Emming, and I got to be on that episode
Oh, neat.
Ooh, nice.
to be one of the talking heads to kind of talk about the experiences and give a little history and stuff. So yeah, so that's been a very fruitful place for me. I love it. I'd love to go back if it's ever possible. It's huge.
Bring Matt to Duluth and see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out.
I
I
can
know
see you
there's
have a heart attack.
yeah.
You might. It's pretty big. It's intimidating and
Mhm.
aside from like just the paranormal activity, it's like one of those places where there's a ton of floors. Each one is gigantic and there's so
Mhm.
many doors and access point. Like it's very easy to get
Right.
lost. So that's almost enough for me. Like
Right.
take
Well,
all the ghosts out of it. It's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
I've seen a few YouTube videos where they go into the abandoned building looking for ghosts and instead run into squatters, which were actually almost more scary than
Way
ghosts.
worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Way worse. Yeah, you're like
Yeah.
you hear a noise and you're like, please let it be a spirit,
Right, yeah,
not
exactly.
not somebody strung out who's gonna stab me.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So when did you first start making movies? When did you first get bit by the bug?
For me, it was definitely a young age. So I love to tell this story, and I feel like I bring this up on almost any podcast I'm in or anytime I talk about it. But I blame my mom for it. I say blame, it's funny, but I kind of blame my mom because I'm ancient. I may not look it, but I'm pretty old, and I'm from the days of renting like videotapes.
Oh yeah.
VHS. I'm all about. I got a couple up here. I'm all about the VHS tapes. And my mom was never one to like really monitor what I was renting. She kind of just let me do what I want. So I would say I'd go to like the back dusty cobweb wall of all the like 70s and 80s like horror classics,
Yeah.
and I would dive in, and I distinctly remember from a very young age thinking I want to know how that's done. Like
Yep.
I was able to separate the fiction from the reality, and I've always just kind of thought that way. Anytime I watch anything, I can enjoy it. Obviously you want to enjoy what you're watching, but I'm always thinking about it from like a creator standpoint. Like
Yep.
how are they getting these shots? How are they making all this blood? How are they doing it? So
Yeah.
I would say it bit me. It bit me pretty young. Bit me pretty young, and of course, I was also the kid with the fan. My dad always had a video camera wherever we went, so I
Mm-hmm.
started experimenting with making home movies and stuff. I mean, probably when I was 7. So
Yep.
it's kind of always just been with me. It's always been there, and
That's
then
awesome.
kind of growing and fine tuning ever
Mm.
since.
Have you went to college to get like a degree off of that?
You know what? Funny enough, I didn't. So I went to IPR, the Institute of Production and Recording, if you're familiar with that.
Mm.
It's a big art school. They closed up now, but I think I graduated from there in like 2009 with a music production and entertainment business degree. I kind of like double majored, if you could call it that. But I had like entertainment business and audio production. Because for me, that was sort of I always thought my biggest love was music,
Oh,
for
sure.
all through my teens and like early 20s. I was in a band and I was doing, that was kind of my thing. And I still have a love for that. But that's actually what I went to school for. But I did take a couple like editing and film focused courses while I was there.
Okay.
And then what's really funny is after, 5 years, 10 years later, IPR did add like a film production, like a whole category to their, curriculum. And so now there's a lot of the people that I've worked with or different people on my team and have met in the film industry. A lot of them have like graduated with like film degrees from the school I went to. But when
Yeah.
I was there, they didn't have that yet. So it's like it's kind of weird. It's kind of like I'm an alumni, but
Right.
not, you know what I mean, not for these specific things. So that's kind of fun. But
Yeah. So if people wanted to find your work, where's the best place to check you out? What's like your YouTube or your social media or what?
So Grave Seekers, that I have that organized. If you want the paranormal stuff, that's all kind of on its own.
Hmm.
I do put some things on my YouTube. Pretty much all of my personal handles are like Wes Effect MN or Wes
Okay.
Effect. As far as Instagram, most of my updates and stuff you can find on Zombie Flickster is what I use. Just how it sounds. Zombie Flickster on Instagram. That's where I keep all my kind of my horror movie. I put a lot of my collection on there. I
Nice.
talk about movies on there, and that's usually where I'll tease a lot of my projects and stuff. So
It's good to
I'm out
have
there.
everything separate because then it gets so confusing.
I have to, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. My brain just doesn't work that way. I can't have everything funnel through the same thing because I'm into so many different things. So it's like wild to be like, here's my photography page where I do weddings and little things, and then all of a sudden here's a really gory image of Ben Gersh. It's like I gotta keep them separate.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them separated.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Is that where your mind went? Yeah, we're close in age, probably.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. What's your favorite horror movie? What's your worst horror movie that you've seen?
Oh my gosh. See, and I listened to a couple episodes. I'm like, I got to know what kind of questions are coming my
Okay.
way.
Right?
So I've definitely thought about it. So favorite's kind of that's a loaded one.
Mhm.
Just because I'd say we'd have to break it up by like subcategory or
Right.
subgenre, right? Because if we're going slasher, I got to go with my man Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yep.
I don't know if I'm an outlier or not, but I have to say like Jason Takes Manhattan is probably one of my all-time favorites of that, which I think statistically is one of the most hated. So,
Right.
Yep. Hmm.
but yeah, there's so many of them to love. Jason's kind of the iconic. I love all Michael and Freddie and all of them, but I'd say Jason has to take the top for me. I'm The Terrifier franchise is very near to my heart right now. I
Mhm.
love what they're doing. I mean, they're 100% independent,
Hmm.
and to cross like the $250 million box office for a movie independently made is just what they're doing. Damien and David and all of them are just absolutely killing it.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I'm a little
especially like Terrifier 1 was low budget too.
way low budget.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny because you go back and watch it after kind of comparing it. Like I've done that where for a while I got kind of hung up. Two's my favorite, and I'm a little biased. I'll explain it in a minute, but it's like they definitely the quality goes up. And then you go back and watch the first one, and it's like, oh, this it does feel like a very independent movie. You can feel in each one how the budget went up a little bit, and they could kind of splurge a little more.
Hmm.
But I actually had a song. I do a lot of composing too for movies and different stuff. I told you music was kind of one of my loves. So
Hmm.
I actually have a song in Terrifier 2,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Out of everything, like perfect, like right time, right place situation. I didn't get hired to do. They needed something. I had what they needed. Damien liked it. He put it in, and it's like I get a little bit of royalties off of that every now and again. And
That's awesome.
it just makes me feel like it's my little piece. I'm
Right.
just a
You're
little.
connected to it.
I'm a little
Yep.
connected, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So for obvious reasons and for everything else, I love what the Terrifier franchise is doing. So got to give that my favorite. I don't really have like a least. I don't really believe in hating
Hmm.
anything.
Is,
That's
is there anything that you've seen that you just were like, okay, I don't need to watch that ever again?
We do.
yeah, there's been a couple where I'm like, okay, maybe I think I was maybe expecting a little more out of
Yep.
that. I'm a little disappointed. I think the one that kind of springs to mind right now is like Night Swim.
Oh, yep.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. We
Hmm.
Because
did
what
we did a interview episode
Episode.
on that.
Yeah, it was one of those movies where when they were promoting it at the very beginning, it just seemed everybody's afraid of swimming pools. Like
Right.
that's just one of those things. That's like a primordial fear. It's like
Yeah.
sharks. So,
Yep.
sharks and then Jaws happens and it's like I see the poster back there, so
Right.
I brought out the Jaws.
Yep.
Everybody's afraid of that, so I'm like, you can't screw up a scary swimming pool movie.
Right.
And I don't want to say they screwed it up because they didn't, but it just got a little wild for me.
Yeah.
It was like we don't we
Mhm.
don't need all these extra things. It's just
Right.
uh,
Sometimes less is more.
right, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. If yeah, I have a couple friends who are very kind of snobby, like
Hmm.
kind of film critic types, and
Yep.
we'll argue about stuff when new things come out and we see it. We'll talk about it, and I always find myself defending stuff like that because I'm like, somebody made that.
Yep.
We could dog on it all day long, but it was made. It was, Jason Blum, I think produced, right? Like
Yep.
Blumhouse, maybe, yeah. And so it's out there. Somebody made some money on
Exactly.
it. It's not by any stretch the worst movie out there.
Right. That's for
But
sure.
somebody made it. Respect the art. You
Yep.
don't have. It's not going to be a very frequently rotated movie, but once in a while.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that's
Yeah.
a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, well, I just hope I think that's you want. My hope is that people always feel that way when they watch my movies, because there's
Mhm.
always going to be people that are like, "This is horse shit,"
Yeah.
And then you
Well,
get,
you're
you get
gonna
those,
have that. It's just yeah. Some
there's
people have different views.
right. It's like but you don't, and I don't. Those things don't usually offend me, but I just don't. It hurts me to think about people reading reviews on their big movie and it's just getting like trashed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like there's definitely art there. There was art. It was a thing. It was made, and for it to be a movie, that's something that most people can't say they've done because it is a lot of work. So
Yeah.
I was
I know one guy that no matter what movie, it's like it could be Terrifier 2, it could be Halloween, and he'd be like, it's all right. Like that's like where he
Yep.
maxes out is that's
Yep.
the highest accolade is
Yep.
it's all right.
Yep.
Exactly.
I got a couple of those. I have a friend, Damian Walker's, longtime producer, film producer in Minnesota. Worked at a movie theater, loves going to the movies, but he just dogs on everything. And sometimes I tease him because I'm like, do you like movies?
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems like you don't really like movies.
Yep.
I think not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, I think is the only movie he's ever given like a 4-star rating, where it's like his favorite. Everything else is like, this is trash, this is boring, this is whatever. And I'm like, your attitude stinks,
So do you
buddy.
think that he thinks that Terrifier 1, 2, and 3 is kind of trash?
I think so. I don't.
Oh,
I was trying to think. I actually had that thought because I don't know if we've talked too much about that. But if I had to bet, I would probably bet that he doesn't love them. He'd probably be like, "It's
what?
okay, it's okay." Yeah, I know. I don't know.
That is weird. I love Terrifier.
Some people are weird about it. I have met a few people along the way who are just like, I just I can't connect to it. And it's like, what do you mean you can't connect to it? He's a clown. Like, he
Right.
kills
Yeah.
people.
And he's
You
a
know?
funny clown on top of that.
David Howard Thornton is incredible. I mean,
Right.
he's absolutely incredible. There's just no way to, but
Oh,
it's just not. It's not for I would say it's for most people, not everybody.
Right.
For people who are not into gore, those are probably the only people I can really understand. Where they're like, I can't. It's hard. I mean, it's a lot. There's definitely a lot there. So if gore wigs you out, then I will accept that you don't like those movies. But for everybody else, I don't buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
This
it
is
looks
like,
like we're
hold on.
running.
I would
Oh,
tell you one story about me and Matt. So we went to the movie theaters because we went to see In a Violent Nature. Okay. And we were sitting in the movie theater and I was watching like, oh, to me, it's kind of like really, really boring.
Yeah.
So like I looked over at Matt, he's just in there. I'm like,
Just asleep.
so I'm like sitting there, like, oh my God.
That's so amazing. See, I surprisingly I have not seen that movie yet.
Well-
I backlogged a little bit, but that's what I've heard. It's like people either think it's so great, or people are like, this was really boring. Yeah.
we might run out of time, but yeah, it was hyped so much. Like for months, I was reading online like people are throwing up in the movie theater and people can't make it through the whole movie. And so I went in. My expectations were like,
like through the roof.
and,
Yeah.
and then like the first 20 minutes is just stomp, 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 crunch, crunch, and I'm like. I have to give it credit. There is one amazing kill there
Yeah.
in the movie, and there's some of the stuff is cool. I like that
Yeah.
they film it from the killer's point of view. It's creative and all that. But man, the hype and where I was looking, the expectations I had, it just did not come close.
Expectations are scary because you got to be careful. If you set them up too high, people are kind of like, no. So I believe in it. Set it like happy medium.
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
Then people can kind of go either way on it.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're about out of time, but want to say thanks so much, Wesley, for being here.
Mhm.
And
My pleasure.
be sure to check them out. Check out all the different websites and things. And thanks for being on.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. Have a great night.
You too.